Our attention to the first round of the British Open Championship, the National Breakdown Rally, which took place in snowbound Yorkshire. The first three stages, starting late at night in the snow and ice, graphically showed where the advantages lay. This is a four-wheel drive in the hands of Hannu Mikkola. Now rear-wheel drive, Russell Brooks. And in front-wheel drive, Andrew Wood in the Astra GTE. Fastest on stage 2 was John Auckland in the Skoda. But as the cars headed off into the rest of the night stages, more bad weather wasn't far away. The next morning looks fine enough, but a further 6 inches of snow had fallen overnight. Stages were being cancelled, roads were blocked. To the organisers' credit, the rally went on. 4 stages were rapidly cancelled, others severely modified. But nothing was hampering the progress of Michael Sundström. The speed may look a little ponderous, but unlike the Swedish rally, there were no studded tyres allowed here. Mikkola, like everyone else, had an unhappy night, and for most of it was giving second best to Llewellyn in the Metro. Now in the dawn, he moved up to second and was starting to match the pace of Sundström. But with the Peugeot in control, the contest between Mikkola and Llewellyn for second was still very keen. Llewellyn, who likes to attack, having tiptoed his way through a night of quite appalling conditions. Llewellyn third, but only 20 seconds behind second place Mikkola. In fourth, Jimmy McRae getting to grips with the Metro after a poor start. At this point, Lightwater Valley, 8 stages had been cancelled and the rally was running approximately 90 minutes late. But Sundström in the Peugeot was still 2 minutes ahead of the field. The Finn apparently heading for his first big win. That's how it seemed. But just around the corner, disaster.
Michael, all a bit of a mess. What exactly happened?
Oh, we began to spin there with the car, and I tried to straight up it, and we hit the tree. That's all, and that's the end.
Bad luck, because you were looking so much in command, weren't you?
Yeah, it was 2 minutes in front of Mikkola, so... But things like that can happen even then.
But one man was showing that in these conditions, there's no substitute for experience. Hannu Mikkola was the new rally leader, but only 14 seconds ahead of Llewellyn in the Metro, and the aggressive Welshman looked poised to attack. Mikkola had won this event in 1980, 82 and 84, and was demonstrating why he was favourite in 86. But David Llewellyn was certainly producing that promised attack. Here at Croft, he matched Mikkola's time, the lead remaining at 14 seconds. Equally fast and equally spectacular, Jimmy McRae, now in third place.
Once again, the significant thing here is the very narrow fire.
After Croft, further heavy snow has paralysed the rally even more. All plans for Sunday's stages have been abandoned. Instead, the crews have come to Dalby Forest to contest a series of stages which will decide the winner. Mikkola off the line, no doubt sensing the pressure of the charging Llewellyn. the 26-year-old just 2 stages away from his first international rally win. Llewellyn's response was electrifying. On the first Dalby stage, he was 26 seconds faster. Llewellyn led Nicola by 10 seconds. On the second, however, experience had the edge on enthusiasm. The Metro slipped into a ditch. Llewellyn lost 20 seconds, and the scene back at the finish in Bradford was a very familiar one indeed. Hannu Nicola and Arnie Hertz win the opening round of the 1986 British Open Championship. By just 16 seconds, the margin of victory. The closest finish for many years.
Nicola's victory was achieved on the sad weekend when we learnt of the death of Henri Toivonen on the Corsica Rally, the latest in a catalogue of tragic incidents this season. The sport's governing body was poised to change the regulations as a result, but after his Welsh victory, Nicola was optimistic those changes would preserve the power and spectacle of the sport.
When rallying has become so important, like it is now, publicity and all the factories, of course, are trying to do their best. And when the factories are putting money and all the knowledge what they have got, it's just one way to go, and that's forward. And so you have to be very careful when you make the regulations, because normally people intend to go around those. So it has to be simple regulation how to reduce the speed.
Instead, FISA banned the powerful Group B cars from next season, a decision preempted by Audi withdrawing the works team with immediate effect. So on the Scottish, no Nicola, and David Llewellyn was set to take over the championship lead.
Obviously, Audi factory have decided to withdraw from Group B rallying, so I mean that's their decision. But I'm disappointed personally because I mean we've been having a good fight with Hanno all year, and of course I was hoping for the chance to maybe beat him, but of course I won't have that chance now. And the championship perhaps is, I mean it's just as strong, but it takes perhaps a little bit of the flavour away.
As grandstand viewers saw in our coverage of the Welsh Rally, you had a horrendous accident towards the end of that event. Has that affected you in any way, do you think? Is that very much in your mind as you come into this one?
Yes, obviously don't want to do it again. It's important to have a steady run and get a finish. The problem is, if you're going quick enough to win, you're going quick enough to go off, you see? So it'll be a steady approach and perhaps not going outright to win, because I'm sure that Jimmy will be going extremely quickly up here. He knows his way around. You know, he's done this event for 15 years, so I think that he'll probably go disappearing into the distance. So we'll try and hold back and pick our way through.
Jimmy McRae, no victories, but great experience on the Scottish. He started the event saddened by what he saw as a possible overreaction to the sport's problems.
I think everybody's overreacted, especially FISA and probably Audi as well. And yes, I'm disappointed in one way that Hannu's not here. Because towards the tail end of the Welsh, I think we had the better of him, and it would have been nice to have beaten him in Scotland, where he's beaten me twice. But in saying that, it's one less to worry about.
Another reaction to the safety problems was the shortening of the Scottish. 15 stages had been lost, and with it, much of the event's character.
It has altered the Scottish quite a bit, because in the Scottish you could, you know, if you were in difficulty in some of the rough sections, you could back off a bit and try and make up elsewhere, whereas now I think it's going to be a flat-out blast right from the word go.
McRae got the chance to show the flat-out approach on the opening 1-mile spectator stage in Bellahouston Park in Glasgow. But not so flat out was the Ford RS200 of Mark Lovell, who hit gearbox problems right on the start line. The gearbox was hastily changed, but Lovell was plumb last after just one stage.
Well, we lost all the gears as we pulled in to start stage 1, and we only had 4th gear, and it was quite noisy, so we had to take a very steady, bad start.
So what's caused it then, do we know?
We haven't got a clue. All the testing, everything's been fine, and put a new box in for the start of this event, and box let us down.
What are they doing now, changing the box?
Yeah, they've changed the box. It's only taken about 14, 15 minutes, so hopefully we'll be away and that'll last us now the rest of the rally.
Lovell was one of the main hopes of breaking the threatened dominance of a whole fleet of MG Metro 6R4s led by last year's winner Malcolm Wilson. In hot pursuit, Jimmy McRae, 3 stages gone, and McRae and Wilson are tied for the lead. Staying on the fringe of the Metro battle is Michael Sundström in the Peugeot. In 4th place, another Metro, and at the wheel, Per Eklund. Fifth in the forests of Glendevon and Pitmedden was David Llewellyn, making a seemingly cautious start. Metros filled 7 of the first 8 places because Llewellyn was followed by Ken Wood, Harry Toivonen and David Galanders. But then it was the first of the rear-wheel drive cars, and what a spectacle. Bjorn Valdegaard in the Toyota. Russell Brooks in the ever-reliable Manta was 10th, and a good solid finish for Russell could see him heading the championship at the end. Leading the Group A battle, the Astra GTE of Andrew Wood, his usual rival Pentti Auricola right behind in his Astra. John Haugland in the Skoda once again headed the Group B 1600cc class. And climbing his way back after that bad start, Mark Lovell already just outside the top 10 in the RS 200. But the first exchanges have certainly belonged to Austin Rover, and day 2 didn't indicate any change in that domination. The only concerns for Malcolm Wilson had been a rear brake failure and slight overheating, but he's built a lead of around 20 seconds over Jimmy McRae. Wilson was a surprise winner of the Scottish last year in a privately entered Audi Quattro. Now, returning 12 months later as a fully fledged World Championship contender, he's certainly the man to beat. McRae was having a comparatively trouble-free run. His only complaint, like that of many of the other drivers, was that the long road sections in between the rescheduled stages of the event actually increased fatigue rather than eased it. But McRae was comfortably in second on the event he so desperately wanted to win. Still third, the talented but unpredictable Finn Michael Sundström. Peugeot breaking the Metro domination, aided by Ford, because Lovell had now moved up to 5th. In 4th place, holding the position he'd been in since the Glasgow start, was David Llewellyn, about 2 minutes behind the battling Wilson and McRae. But then the first hint of Metro problems to come. Ken Wood had already retired, and this is the last glimpse of Per Eklund, shortly to drop out with a blown engine. For Llewellyn, just off the pace, the problems here weren't so much mechanical as psychological.
Taking a long time to settle in after the crash on the Welsh, you know. Things aren't sort of flowing, you know, just trying to build my confidence again, you know. It's taking longer than I thought. You know, every time I come to a bend, I think, oh, is it going to tighten? You know, is it going to be like the bend on the Welsh? You know, it's just not flowing properly.
At Aviemore, second place Jimmy McRae reported few problems.
But two punctures in actual fact towards the end of stages. It hasn't cost us a lot of time, but a few seconds. The car they're just checking over. Other than that, no problems.
But the good fortune wasn't to last. On the very next stage, McRae's Metro is misfiring and he drops out. After 5 second-place finishes on the Scottish, McRae misses out again, and the bad luck hands a comfortable lead to Malcolm Wilson. Second place, Michael Sundstrom, waiting to pounce in the Peugeot. Llewellyn third, and on Drummond Hill, his Welsh nightmare of a tightening left came very much alive for Neil Duggan in the Nissan.
But nevertheless, quite a few teams are experiencing mechanical failure. The main ones to suffer have been the Austin Rover team with their MG Metros. One of their drivers is Harry Toivonen, who I would have thought had suffered enough with his brother Henry having been killed in the Corsican rally a few weeks ago.
Harry Toivonen, bravely returning to the sport after the death of his brother, also faces engine problems that were to end his rally. Austin Rover Motorsport boss John Davenport counts one back out onto the road, Malcolm Wilson, but David Llewellyn is needing a push start. The car fires up eventually, but it's been a disastrous few hours for the Metros, the strong suspicion being that it's either a component problem affecting the works cars or that the Scottish dust is fouling the engines. There's the consolation of Malcolm Wilson leading the rally. Up near the head of the pack, there's little dust in the air, but the aerodynamics were possibly sucking the dust into the engine compartment. Sundstrom is second, but Llewellyn's third place wouldn't last long. His engine is becoming sicker, and soon he concedes third spot to Mark Lovell's Ford. And it's quite clear that Llewellyn is about to become engine failure number 5. So the leader, Malcolm Wilson, is the only one of the top-line Metros to make it to the Glasgow rest halt. And Wilson is also showing signs of the engine plague that has struck down his colleagues. Overnight, the decision is made to retire his car while the expiring engine is still intact and use it to discover the fault that has wiped out the Metro Challenge.
The problem with the likes of David's engine and Jimmy's and Harry Toivenen's is that those engines are actually destroyed completely, and it's very difficult to diagnose a problem.
Why has it all happened at once on this event?
I don't know. It's just something in these, must be something in these 4 engines. You know, we haven't had before. I mean, there's Tony's RAC engine, which is still running, believe it or not. You know, I think it's done 100 odd hours. It's incredible. I don't know the answer. I wish I did.
So what a change as the second leg started from Glasgow. Sundstrom really only challenged by Mark Lovell. His lead 3.5 minutes, but that's just the kind of winning position that Sundstrom threw away when he crashed out of the first round, the national breakdown.
Michael, it's nice to see someone wearing overalls and ready for action this morning. You've got a good lead. How confident are you that this is the victory that you've been waiting for?
Of course, it's 15 stages to go and everything can happen in rally. But I think this time I have possibility to drive slow enough to not have any accidents, and the car is 100%, so I think it will be a good run.
How hard have you been going so far in the event?
Let's say 100%, not 110 and not 90.
But 100%?
Yes.
And no problems at all?
No problems at all, and what I said earlier on, the car have been 100%, no problem at all, and no mistakes, we have not went off, and so tires work very well and everything will be fine.
We've talked to you before a little bit about the pressure on you, which started in the first event, the national breakdown. How aware are you of that now?
Well, there was always speak that this last chance, and I think this is the 4th last chance this year, but that not make a pressure on me.
Certainly Sundström didn't seem to be holding anything back as he fought to keep his advantage over Lovell. The British driver, who'd been going faster and faster since his poor start, was clipping away odd seconds. But he needed to increase the pressure enough to force a mistake. Well, the mistake did come, but not... At the service halt, the crew had it looking like a car again in no time, and Lovell's hopes of victory had pretty well completely disappeared.
Mark, the end of the day, and it's all gone rather wrong. What happened on that Twigley stage?
It hasn't gone wrong yet. We're still there, we're still in second, but we had a bit of a roll halfway through the stage. Fortunately, there were some spectators there, pushed us back on the wheels. We dropped about 2 minutes.
What happened there? You just put a... How hard were you trying there, and what sort of impression did you feel that you were making on Sundström?
Well, we've been trying pretty hard throughout the whole rally, but I guess that our luck was bound to end somewhere. So we had to keep the pressure on Michael. It was gone off now, he's just got to get home.
Sundström's victory journey home was through the traditional last day rain that the Scottish always suffers. Second place Lovell suffering no more dramas, but rumoured at this stage to be threatened with further time penalties. Third place, the Toyota of Bjorn Baldegaard, always entertaining, but a one-off championship appearance. The sole surviving Metro, the private entry of David Gillanders, took fourth place. In Glasgow, the pipes were no doubt meant to welcome Jimmy McRae's long-awaited Scottish victory. Instead, they were piping in Finland's Michael Sundström. A season of disappointment and sometimes despair for him so far, but now he'd scored his first major international victory in the Peugeot.